Oh my God, I felt like something just stabbed me right in the throat. It was weird. It felt like all of a sudden it was like a knife stabbed in and went, ugh. I was like, what? Am I saying something wrong? Am I not supposed to say this? Are they like attacking my throat chakra, or is somebody attacking it because they don't want me to say this because it's the truth? I mean, fuck, I don't know. I was going to say whatever it is that I feel like saying. And, it's on, all I can do is share perspective to help someone else have insight so they can look in and look for more perspective. And that is one thing that guy was talking so much about. This whole thing is all about perspective. It's all so we can learn from different perspective. And he was saying, and I totally agree with this, is if you come in and you play this one part, and then you have to play this other part. So if you come in and you play the killer, I mean, you play the person being killed, then you will play the killer, because that's how the duality has to play out. And he was talking about, and he was doing all by geometry and stuff, but how we structure ourselves, and then we come in and we start playing out all these roles, and it all is by this geometry. And that's why they say it's like sacred geometry, because it is a structure of how, and then you play it out. So you're playing both parts, because you cannot be in judgment. And that's why I was talking about, and he was talking about it, is you can't be in judgment. Like if you're up here, you're of a higher, the ones that are above us that can see and look down and watch us, they can be there as supportive influences on our life presently. They are in a higher vibration. They're able to be up here and look down and give guidance, because they're looking, they're in the tree line. They can see more of what's going on. We can't see everything. We can only see like what's in front of us. So the more you tune into them, the better, because then they give you guidance. Like they've got more eyes watching what's going on. So when you have to, and if you're judging these different roles, so see, if they're up here, they have released judgment. You can't judge. So that's why they're not going to be down there, shaming you because you didn't do this, or attacking you or something. That's not how they roll. They are above. They are above those things, and judgment is down here. And that's what we're releasing, because you can't be up here and be judging, because that's how we learn. And going through crises and experiences and stuff like that, that's how we grow. That's how we propel. That's how we raise our vibration so we can go up and be up there. And that's the experience that we're going through right now, by moving out of the 3-dimensional and then moving into the 4th and 5th. And that's why there can be people in the 4th, people in the 5th. It all is in here. It's all of how we perceive things. It's how you perceive the world. That is in here. And the more you release and the more you let go of judgment, then the higher you can go. And so, you can be up here, lingering up here of how you view the world all the time. And then sometimes you may drop down and you may use like some more 3-dimensional tools or whatever of realizing your existence, or how you're living your life on certain times of the day or whatever. But that is where it's our goals and stuff like that. But you have to go through these different lifetimes to be able to get to the point of understanding and losing judgment, because then you can see everybody could be pushed to murder. It's not a bad person who murders. Anybody can be pushed. So why should we judge these different people and these different things? The more we release that and understand, like whatever their journey, did they just come to did they murder because they wanted to see how horrible it feels to take away someone else's life? To take away someone's existence is traumatic to do, because not you may rid them from the environment, but then you have all of the pain and suffering from those who loved them, and that's attached to you. And he was talking about some stuff too that I was like, oh, that's just what I was talking about with the way you attach yourself. And he's saying like, oh, karma's not bad. Like, we don't have to think like, oh, karma's bad. It's just your attachment to those things. Like, you have to go in and live that through. And so that's what I'm saying is some of these people who are attaching to these negative influences and influencing others, they've associated to that karmic wave, So then, therefore, maybe, they're going to have to be stuck down here a lot longer playing out these different things. Because he was saying you can't ascend until you've, wait, was he talking about the Kundalini? Raising your Kundalini? I think he was talking about you can't ascend until you have played out all of your, and to me when he was talking about it was like, oh, like a Rubik's Cube or something. Like, you have to go through all the different things to get to the part where you can go on to the next game. And so we're in this game right now, like this level, and we're playing this out. But you got to play all the different possibilities that you came up with when you were in Dead World. It's not like you came and got born and then you thought of it. You thought of all this in advance. And that's why, the more you get all hung up in judging your life, you're judging yourself. And the more you can release that, the more that you can let go of things, the more you can move through it. And that's why I said, like, the more of these paradigms that are shifting that you hold on to, whether it be religion, politics, gender roles, whatever, the different things that, are super important to you that you're really holding on to, it's going to hurt like hell when they get ripped out from under you, because we're releasing all of it. All that's going away. It was all structured by other entities to enslave us. So now we're moving out of those and we're moving into where we are going to create. And that's another thing too. And he talked about this too with the thing with it. And I was talking about it yesterday with the intent. I think I've been talking about it for a few days with intent and manifestation. They can be like weapons if people don't understand them. So if you are sitting there and you think like, oh, I can't stand that person. I can't stand them. I hope that bad things happen to them and stuff. You're creating that. You're giving that life. And that is where people don't really understand how the intent and the manifestation really work. They think like you have to, oh, wow, I want $1 million. So I'm going to go sit for 2 hours every day and I'm going to stare at this paper and it's going to say $1 million. And I'm going to put all this work and I'm going to stare at it until I see it. And then, no, all you're going to do is just think about it and release it, and it becomes real. But that's what people are doing to cause pain and suffering on this planet too. Like, we are creating our own pain and suffering. And just like that other one, the Palladian channeler person was saying, that we will bring the event. That's how powerful we are. We're pulling these things into us because we want them to happen, because it is going to be transformative, even though people, don't really realize it. But, it doesn't take all this work for intention and manifestation, but you have to be weary of where you direct your energy. And if you're directing it towards pain and suffering and hope, negative stuff for other people, it's going to come back on you. It's going to, especially right now, it will circle back. It will boomerang back to you, and what you're putting out will come back to you. So if you're putting out suffering and hate and negativity, it will come back to you. And but there's so much about releasing our judgment on the different roles that are played out, because we come to play these roles out, like just the same as when you're playing the Monopoly and you're going to be the candlestick, or you're going to be the little car, you're going to be the little I can't remember all the pieces now, I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about. Coming and playing Kelly is just the same as if I was like, oh, this time I'm going to be the feather, It's the same kind of concept. I'm just here playing this role. I'm just in this game to learn more about myself. I'm just playing this out so that I can transcend and have a better, deeper understanding of self and of everything, the universe. Oh, another thing too, I know I'm just all over the place, but there was so much. I was like, oh my God, I was so excited about the stuff that he was talking about. And I'm going to go back in and watch it some more. So I'll probably, because it's so fucking early still. I mean, I've been out since 3:30. It's going to be a long fucking day. But I'll probably have more things that I want to talk about that he says, because and this is why I look forward to these conversations when, we start actually finding each other on here, that I'm totally interested in talking about this kind of stuff. But I love hearing other people's perceptions of how they explain things and how they see things, because so much of it is just their way of explaining or expressing or translating how they see things, but it's all so similar. So I love hearing what other people, how they see things. It is unless they're caught up in like these three-dimensional structures. Like, I don't get all excited because someone starts telling me about religion, and I find it interesting, but when they're telling me stuff, I'm just trying to associate it with like ancient text or other kinds of things, because religion is a manipulated paradigm that is created to control us. So anyways, so the earth is the earth, the moon, the sun. And if something is a planet and it's taken that type of form, and this is how he was explaining about the geometry and stuff, and like I think the first dimension is just the triangle. It's like you have to learn about the three roles, and like what in religion, what they call them, like the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. But he was explaining them, and then he also showed that it's kind of like your role as son, daughter, father. You play out these different roles, and you come in to play the different roles and have the different experiences, because it gives you more perspective. It causes you to judge less, because you felt what it felt like, why they did what they did, how they got them to that place. And the more that we can have understanding of one another, then we don't have to go through those experiences. But anyways, it goes through all this geometry and stuff. And then when it gets to this part, I can't remember, it was something like, because all of the things, like what I was talking about with nature yesterday, and that it will show, like the shell will have the same kind of repeating patterns and stuff, and a leaf and all this stuff. So and in the repeating patterns, it will be like tetrahedron and or however you say all those, it's all the squares and triangles and shit, that make up all these different things. So anyways, once you get up to a planet, that when consciousness becomes a planet, then it becomes a creator. And once it becomes a creator, it creates us, it creates the life on its own planet. And then it was like, oh my gosh. So the more I can see now, like why there would have been people worshiping the planet. And we need to get back to that kind of thing and really see that it's a consciousness, that we are the more we're in sync with it, it's a real living thing. It's a consciousness. and it suffers and feels pain as well. And in this case, I mean, Earth is also ascending. All the planetary, it's all a shift, like it's all shifting right now. And we're going to move into a place that is more positive, because here there's so much negativity. It's so dense, it's so heavy, and negativity, and a lot of negativity together creates evil. And a lot of beings that focus on negativity, manifest evil. And but we're moving out of that, and we're moving up into other dimensions where there is not that. We release that, release it, in judgment and stuff. Hopefully I'm making sense. I mean, it makes sense to me. But anyways, I found it fascinating too yesterday, because when they give me this confirmation, it goes into my mind differently than how I'm saying it. Because it's like, oh, that's just what I was talking about. Yes, that's that's how I see it. And so in the water thing, like if you're in the ocean and you're going through the densities and you're moving up, and the light, becomes like, kind of does turn into a tunnel, right? As the light comes into the water, and then you move up in the density. Once you get to the horizon line, then you can periscope up out of there. You can start looking like, what's around me? What's up here? And that's where a lot of us are with our consciousness at this point. We're going up, and we've got our periscope out, and we're looking out to see what else is out there. And that, I think soon it's going to be, everybody's going to be up there. But right now, it's just people at different levels trying to work their way through the denseness and find the light up above. And and then once you get up there, though, then you get your periscope out there. You're going to find that you've got all these beings trying to talk to you. It takes life to a whole new level. And so I found that really fascinating about the planets, because I've heard about, when people call it Gaia, even the channels call Gaia, and that the planet is real and a living being. But how this guy explained it, it just that I don't know, it made more sense, or my brain comprehended it differently or something. But I could totally see the importance of like communion with the earth and nature, and how important it is as a soul to do that, And another thing too that I found was really interesting was that when he was doing his charts and stuff about so once you go through these things, and then you become up to a co-creator. And when you become a co-creator, then you can work with another person, and y'all can create together. And I was thinking that's so crazy, because there's so many people talking about that right now. And of course, they've got to label it, and they've got to try and come up with meanings and everything for everything. And there is no set, one size fits all kind of thing. But like what people say about twin flames, and I think they call them more things than that. But anyways, like a twin flame. So if you are, you're both from the same vibration, you're both from the same realm, vibration, mindset. And so whether, it's your soul splitting into two, because your soul splits into a lot. I mean, your soul is capable of living several lives at one time. It's not just because you're focused on this and you think this is all there is. That's not what's going on. I mean, your soul has got, his hands in more lives than you can even comprehend. That's part of why we have to have a veil, because I mean, imagine if you, as a soul, you've got all these little puppets down here running around. If you could feel what the other ones were feeling, Jesus, would you ever have a moment of rest? It'd be a lot. to feel the pain and suffering on that level. So there has to be a veil, a release of those things. And so, if a twin flame is, another fractal of the same soul, I mean, very possible. It could make total sense. It makes sense that it would be. But no matter what it is, it is a vibratory being that is your equal, you know? And so then when you are going through this stuff that's happening right now, and you're going through all of your personal growth, and you are accomplishing these different things to get yourself to a certain point, and both of you are like energetically triggering one another, like you don't have conscious awareness of it, like you're not talking about it, like call them up, hey, what about this, and then they're triggered. And then, I mean, that does happen for some people. They talk about, this person and constantly being triggered and then pushing each other away. But I think that everybody is coming in at different places. Like I definitely think there's some souls who are focused on working on self, and then they're going to meet their counterpart. And then there's other souls that were like, hey, I think we could do this together. And then they are triggered constantly, because it's a lot, of a lot of triggering happening. And so when you get to that point of meeting, then you become the co-creator. Then you become somebody who, together, you are on mission to co-create. You are there to make a change. And I was like, oh my God. And he wasn't talking about it on that level. That's my translation of stuff he was saying and how I was seeing it by translating into other things that I've seen and heard about. And so I thought that, that makes sense. It makes a lot more sense when he was talking about, when a soul gets to a certain point that they are ready to co-create. Because just like what I talk about with the dogs, like they have no conscious awareness of like, that they have choice. Do they even know that they're a dog? Do they even know that they're called a dog? Do they know any of that stuff? And that is the conscious progression of awareness. You go through these different, I've even heard of people who were getting past life regression that when they went back to life, they were a rock. They're just a rock, just laying there. And they could feel when people kicked them. They could feel when they got picked up and moved and all of it. But see, it's consciousness having awareness. And he was talking, and I've heard this a bunch of times, but it was, of course, confirmation, was every single thing on this planet has consciousness, and you're connected to every single thing on this planet because you're an extension of this planet, because you are created by this planet. And you are, well, I don't want to go that far and say that. Like, I think people won't even understand that at all, because there's so many people who think like Adam and Eve came and did all this. But, let's just skip that part about, if the planet created us. There's a role that the planet plays as a co-creator, a consciousness being. And, but then, we have to, attach to that. We have to, like a bond, or like melding of the minds or something with the planet, to understand what's best for the planet is best for us. What's best for us is best for the planet. Right now we're being, it's all full of trickery and stuff, like convince us that we're destroying the planet, and like we're the ones who have the smokestacks pumping out poison, stripping on the bare land and shit like that. That's not us. Corporations, so we're the ones destroying the planet, but we're going to be rebuilding it soon. So but anyways, just the I was back on that co-creation thing. So when you when you go through the different stages of consciousness, and then you raise your consciousness to have an awareness to even be like, who and what am I? You know, like a existential kind of realization of trying to understand who and what I am. And that is what has caused, that is not caused a lot of problems, but has brought in so much manipulation, is those questions right there. As soon as we started being like who and what we are, there's somebody right there to tell you. That's why you don't just listen to me. Don't just say, oh, Kelly said this, Kelly said that. Don't do that. You say, oh, she said this, I want to go look up about this, I found that interesting. Oh, I didn't like that, but I found this other part interesting, I'm gonna go look up about it. That's what you got to be doing. When I'm talking about, don't wear these, look up about how the system works, look up how your body works, about the hormone stuff, about what's going on with that. And they're doing everything they can to destroy the human bodies. And they're destroying the whole fucking planet. So but once you get to a certain state of consciousness, and this is where we're at right now, you get to a certain state of consciousness that you start becoming self-aware. You're not just trying to survive. You're not just out there trying to, just survive life. And which is kind of funny, because you're trying to survive life, but death it's just a transformation. So what are you really trying to survive? Because all you're really here to do is to just learn your stuff, go through the experiences and stuff, release that, and go on to the next game and the next persona, the next experience. But you have to release the old, and you're going to play all the different parts. So stop judging them, because you're going to play all the different roles out. But once you get to where we are now with our consciousness of beginning to have awareness, like, okay, I don't need to just try and survive. I'm here to experience. I'm here to understand. I'm here to enjoy life. I'm here to enjoy this planet and everything that she offers. Oh, which, by the way, another thing, I don't remember where I saw this. It was on one of these shows. They were talking about human health and stuff, and that all of the plants, like I had said before, there's something naturally that is grown for everything that is wrong with us. And so they were saying, like, if you have a problem, there will be a fruit or a vegetable or a plant or something that will look like that thing. For me, the walnuts are supposed to be good for your brain, and I had heard that before. Also mushrooms, but look at the shape of them. Like a mushroom goes up on the stem, the brain stem, and then it goes out. It has all that fiber and shit up in there, representative of the brain, because the mushrooms are supposed to be really good for your brain. Walnut. And when they were showing it, it was like, that totally looks like a brain. And then they were like carrots. Cut open a carrot, it looks like an eyeball. Carrots are good for eyeballs. So that is, and that's going to be like the exciting stuff as we all start really getting into, our deeper understanding of life on this planet. It's going to be super fun. We just got to get through this hard part. But so right now, and, we have so many people who are stuck down in this lower, dense energy, that are stuck in pain and suffering and victimization. And that's why I talk about all the time. Releasing your victimhood, propels you into a whole nother status of growth. But the change in the consciousness is because as soon as I started having these deeper understandings, then it was like, why do we fear death? It makes no sense. And why? And that is why 2020 has been so, highlight about death. I mean, we see all these people running around with these things, like they're so scared, like this whole thing is so new to them. Death is so new, and it can come and it can get you, and it can come on little germs that you can't even see, and it can and people are so caught up in the, this is their only life, and You know, if they lose this one, they're fucked. And what was another thing? Because another thing popped into my head at the same time about how people are, well, anyways, if you can release that, and then you understand, just like what I was talking about earlier, that it's just this transcendence, it's just this movement, it's just going into, it's a transition. And you know, a lot of times you will transition into heaven or dead space. You know, you'll spend time planning your next journey out there. And but when you reach a certain point of spiritual growth, then you see that. And you're like, you know, there's nothing to fear about death. But they've got people so manipulated in their heads that they're so, you know, they'll do anything to stop from dying. They even think like you can die too soon. You can die early. It's like, you won't die until you're supposed to die. I mean, it's a set thing. As soon as you're born, it's already set up. There's no early, I mean, you can take yourself out early, but there's no, and, you know, you can't always just do that. When I was a nurse and I had that patient, well, there's a lot of patients you have in the psych ward who are suicidal or try to kill themselves several times. But this one guy, his whole face was shot off. Yeah, I mean, I think he only had like, I can't really picture him that well now, but it seems like he only had like half of his face. He was blind because it blew his eyeballs off and stuff. But, and that happened, 11/11, that happened also, another kid, and they tried to say that he went to school to do a whole shooting, and that he, the police came, and then they, you know, had to shoot him like 14 times in the face and head and shit. So his face was all jacked up. So, you know, you don't always just leave the planet when you're trying. Sometimes, you know, your experience isn't done. You have to, and you can experience it with half a face, you know, if that's what you need to do. So, yeah. But there is no like, it's going to come too soon. It's going to come prematurely. You know, you can save yourself. You know, Grim Reaper won't notice you. He won't recognize you if you just put this on. It's like, no. And then plus their fear has got them so like, okay, you know, put these in me, do anything, just keep me from dying. It's like, so the people who are caught up in that, we know they haven't ascended, transcended, they haven't moved up in consciousness awareness, because they're still so stuck in, you know, there's death. I could die. When you start releasing that kind of paradigm, that's when you'll start really being like, oh, okay, now I get it. Yeah, this is just fucking cool. Why am I spending it being scared? I'm just going to have some fun. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to experience it. And then the more you start like having people do stuff to you, and you don't get caught up in the drama, you don't say, you know, oh, they're the bad person and they did this, they did that. You just be like, okay, that's their perception. That's their perspective. You know, tell me more. Because every single perspective is valid. Doesn't mean that, you know, you don't have to see their perspective to make it valid. It's how they see the world. It's where their experience as a soul, that's how they're seeing the world at this point, their perspective. And, you know, that's why we just reborn, because we want to make more perspective. But so we're moving right now into this other state of consciousness. And then that is where they start saying fourth dimension, fifth dimension. But it's all of just of how you look at things. And once you understand that it's not magic, it's real world, then, you know, you have the capabilities to time travel, to, you know, your consciousness is available to do all sorts of stuff. And that is another thing that we're going to just be learning so much about, and And it's going to be super exciting. It's going to be super fun to learn what we're capable of. And, as conscious beings, it's just, it's just so weird because I can see the stuff so clearly, but then to try and say it, you don't ever know if you're really getting that, like, does it really make sense to you? Like, I don't know. But, if there's ever anything where you're like, oh, I don't get it. That doesn't make any sense to me. I may not be speaking to you on your level, but also, we can have a conversation. We can talk about it, and we can, share ideas. That's what is exciting. And, they've wanted to repress us and keep us quiet and keep us compliant, you know. But this is about breaking free, owning your weirdness, being free to be you. You don't have to be compliant to the controllers. You don't have to be something that you're not. And we've all been stuck in this trying to be something that we're not. And then the more that you just grasp yourself and get to know yourself and love yourself, it changes your whole state of being. So anyways, I've just been talking and talking and talking. So I should probably stop talking for a while. Anyways, hopefully some of the stuff made sense. And, a lot of stuff is just planting seeds, because if it's something you need to know, the universe will continue to play it out. So you get a seed, then just like the stuff that, like they'll tell me things and I'm, so impulsive, I'll just go out here and start talking about it. And then after the fact, they'll be like, see, we're telling you the truth. We're not lying to you. And they'll show me other people talking about it. And other people, I don't know, they were all getting it from the same thing. But that just shows that the same thing is real. Somebody's out there talking to us, because how are we all getting the same messages? So anyways, if you have any questions and you want to talk about anything, I'm here. I'm a real person. So, email me or whatever and we can chat. So have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.